When you drive about an hour east from the Phoenix, Arizona metro, you will find an area called the Superstitions, made up of a collection of mountains and their surrounding wilderness. Over the years, this place became famous for stories and whispers. Stories of murder, a lost gold mine, and a hole in the ground leading straight to hell. Legends say that in the 19th century, Apaches killed an expedition carrying gold back to Mexico. They hid the gold and covered up the mine. Since then, thousands have ventured into the Superstitions to search for this fable, and a handful paid for it with their life. These days, while the search for lost gold may have died down, people still venture into the numerous trails of the Superstitions to reflect upon the distant past and discover their own gold. Tan and I began our trek at the western edge of the Superstitions.
So in total, we're probably walking around for what, 10 miles today?
I think so.
I got my laptop, got my joysticks. I'm ready to play some marble on top of a mountain.
More sunscreen. Don't want to burn today.
Nope, I think this map's wrong, but whatever, we'll figure it out.
Hieroglyphic Trail is a short, out and back hike that starts at the same location as the lost gold mine trailhead in the Superstitions. The trail is mostly flat, with a rocky incline towards the end. Throughout the trek, you'll be surrounded by an array of desert vegetation. If you're visiting the area and want to see the desert landscape, this is a good trail to start on.
Everywhere you look is a different type of cacti. Is that what you would say? Or a different type of cactus? I'm not actually sure how you would say that.
Hey, Tan, try sitting on it.
Face first.
When you think of the American Southwest, this is like the stereotypical Southwest look.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, this is where, the Wile E. Coyote runs around chasing the Roadrunner?
Yeah. Running off canyon cliffs.
Yep. Oh, hold on, there's petroglyphs.
That's why I go to a lost gold mine. Lost gold!
This looks like a block of C4 down here. This is endless fields of cacti. Let's take a picture.
To the east, we saw the far reaches of the Superstition wilderness. The trail is almost completely exposed. Like most hikes in the American Southwest, it's recommended to avoid the trail during the hot summer months. The cactus monster in Final Fantasy games?
Yeah.
The little bastards
the one that goes like
run real
this?
fast. Yeah.
Didn't you farm that in Final Fantasy X for experience?
Yeah.
Oh my
they give
God.
a lot of experience, but they're a rare spawn.
And you have to go to the arena until you find it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that shit. That was not fun.
Let me push to the gate. Have you stepped on a cactus?
Oh my God. We're here in Tonto National Forest. The Superstition Wilderness.
The gate here marks the edge to the Superstition wilderness. I think we're like half a mile into it. I'm very sweating, as always.
A sweater, a perpetual sweater.
Well, it's pretty warm today, but at least we're not hiking in the middle of summer.
Well, I think it's warm because of the exposure, but the air temperature is like 60 something.
That's warm. That's warm.
That's a little too hot for Chinese at 35.
At least 35. Usually, this trail is full of people, but it's mostly empty today and it was nice to have it to ourselves. To the west, we can see Mesa and Apache Junction.
You know what these looks like? It looks like the Earth's pimples, you know?
Ted and I continue our trek as we start to gain elevation. We knew we were nearing the end. The path becomes rocky as we made our ascent. Be careful of your footing here as there are many loose rocks. Be sure to stand next to a saguaro cactus if you want to feel dwarfed by nature. Towards the end of the trail is Hieroglyphics Canyon. We decided to stop for a bit to rest in the shade and enjoy the scenery. From here, we can see much of the desert. The hieroglyphs have been etched into the basalt cliff walls by the Hohokam people that lived here over 1500 years ago. The Hohokam were excellent sky watchers, and they were capable of pinpointing the exact time of the equinoxes. Some of these petroglyphs have faded, but it's still impressive that they were able to survive throughout the centuries in the harsh desert environment. At the base of the petroglyphs are pools of stagnant water full of insects and algae. These pools were created by the flow of swirling water at the base of the cliff wall. If you come here in the spring, you can catch small waterfalls that flow through the canyon.
And this is where I slip and fall from the trees up. I think it's pretty nice, although it's a little bit sunny now, but I can't imagine even doing it in the summer. Probably turn into beef jerky or something. But overall the landscape's nice. We made it! Just wrap around this post.
Oh yeah, the wraparound.
Yeah. It's high-tech stuff, man.
We're going to the Wave Cave Trail.
And how far away is that, Joe?
It's about half an hour from here.
Alright.
It's time to move on.
You know, I tend to notice that out in the wilderness it tends to be kind of quiet. Not much noise except for when you hear a random animal scurry across and the sound of your own footsteps.
Tan and I made it to the trailhead for the Wave Cave. We got a little bit lost because Google Maps kind of suck at directions here, and it told us to turn on a road that wasn't a road, and it's all bad, so be careful when you're driving on desert freeways, I guess.
Like if you stick your finger on it, like you immediately like puncture the skin.
Oh yeah, these things are super prickly. Oh.
Chad, be careful.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding.
Yeah, you don't want to fall face first into a cactus.
I got that itis now.
Cactitis.
I think hikes like these, making trips out to the wilderness, is pretty good for the soul. I think in our everyday lives we get too much stimulation, you know, too many moving images, too much sound. It's just overwhelming. So taking a step back, it's quiet out here, nothing's moving, lets you appreciate, you know, some of the simpler things in life.
Tell what type of cactus is this?
I have no idea. It's the hamburger cactus.
The Sonoran Desert is home to an array of cacti, from the many different types of chollas to the so-called hamburger cactus, also known as a prickly pear cactus. These things are super sharp and prickly. Gotta be careful where you're walking, especially when you're not wearing long pants. You scrape your leg on these things.
So you know, if you look straight up, it's like the bluest blue you've ever seen. It's like completely, there's like no clouds.
There's one cloud.
Yeah. But like this area, just one giant canvas of blue.
Tan and I are pretty much by ourselves in the desert right now. We're walking along a trail that leads to the wave cave, and there's no one here. Just us and a bunch of cacti. It's super peaceful here. That's what I love about the desert landscape. This is very American Southwest, stereotypical American Southwest with a bunch of cacti around us and a lot of land. This is why we go hiking, for the Instagram likes.
Yep, pretty much. We're farming likes. You can hear everything.
Yeah, it's so quiet here, you could hear for miles on end. Tan and I continued our trek towards the wave cave, located in the shadows on the side of the Three Sisters mountain. On and on we march. As we climbed higher, we can see more of the desert surrounding us.
So we learned something on this trail. These are not called hamburger cactus. It's actually called the prickly pear. So the more you know. They look like they might be a little soft. No, they are pretty much like toothpicks. Nature's toothpicks. Ow! Like looking at the inside of a dead cactus is a little unnerving. Look like you don't see this, and looks like intestines and stuff. It's speaking to me. It's like blah blah.
Tan and I are a little lost. We're trying to find a trailhead to Wave Cave. But the road we're on, or the trail we're on, is just leading us to the other side of Superstition Mountain.
It's kind of confusing here. Nothing is labeled at all.
Yeah, and there's a fence blocking us from reaching the cave. So, I think if we follow this trailhead, we're just gonna end up back at the other trailhead. We're on the Hieroglyphic Trail, so we might have to head back and find an opening in the fence.
So basically, isn't that Kearney Springs? We just walk past the blockade and keep going?
Yeah, I think so.
So we were going the wrong way since the beginning?
Epic fail. So we found the entrance. It was straight ahead of the main path where we were supposed to go. So what we did was we turned towards the left from the main path, but we should have just gone straight, and there's this little gate here. But when we were walking, we didn't notice. We thought it was fenced off in this area, so that's why we went to the left.
Hey, doesn't this look like a gate to anyone? We actually walked until we found the gate, and that was way over there. But, it's marked by Karen, so...
Yeah. So the cairns are, if you're on this trail, look for the cairns. They're road markers, trail markers, and they should lead you to the right path. Just be careful of all this barbed wire. So the cairn marks the path. So that was a pretty terrible gate. It wasn't really a gate, according to Tan. It's just a fence with an opening and some barbed wire around it.
Yeah, a gate implies that it swings open.
We noticed the sun was starting to set, so we quickened our pace to reach the cave in time for the sunset. The path was narrow and not clearly marked, but we continued to follow the cairns and the makeshift blockades in the road to reach the top. Towards the end, the path became rocky and steep, but we pushed ourselves and finally made it to the cave. One of the more brutal last portions of the hike. Is it worth it? Oh yeah, there are a ton of footprints here. You can't get lost here. We finally made it to the cave and we decided to rest for a bit on the crest of the sandstone wave. After the steep, rocky incline at the end, it was nice to be able to sit in the cave's shadow to catch a breath. The hike up here was definitely worth the trek. As we gazed out into the distance, we saw the setting sun cast its glow upon the desert. We didn't find any lost gold mine of the Superstitions, but we did see an already beautiful land transforming into gold. Soon, it was time for us to depart.
Going down is way harder. I feel like I'm gonna slip going down.
Yeah, I slipped already.
As hard as the uphill was, the downhill is equally, if not harder, than going uphill. Feels like every single step I take is a potential fall. Try and be careful with all these rocks here. Right now, Tan has gone on ahead of me, and I'm trying to catch up to Tan right now. Hopefully he remembers the way back. But this sunset is gorgeous right now. Let's look at it. I wish I had more time to sit here and enjoy the last rays of sunlight, but I don't want to be up here when it gets dark in the desert, because just like my last video, it got pretty dark pretty fast, and I'm not familiar with this trail, and since there's a lot of paths that you could take, you could get turned around, so I don't want that to happen, and I'm gonna hasten my pace to the base.
With a view like this, it was hard not to stop to gaze at the glittering mountains and the tall saguaros casting their long shadows across the land. You can stand here for a long time just to ponder.
Well, I'm still searching for Tan. It's starting to get pretty dark here, and I certainly hope he knew the directions back. There's really only one path and it's straight forward, and I'm hoping he didn't take a detour somewhere. I'll find out soon if he's at the gate or not. What's up, Tan?
Well, we made it.
Isn't this a gorgeous sunset?
Yep, I was sitting here enjoying the deafening silence. Then I heard your boots from a mile away. Thank you, welcome.
Am I disturbing the peace?
Yep.